Today we're going to be comparing the Sportdog 1225 to the Garmin Sport Pro e-collars. So we're going to dive into that, but first I want to let you guys know that I've got a sale going on for 4th of July on my website. It's going to run until July 7th, so you can go ahead and get geared up for 4th of July. I got these shirts right here with the duck call, shotgun shell, American flag on the back, Outdoor Limits logo on the front. Got them on stupid sale right now. So head over to the website, pick one up. I got hats on sale, and just go ahead and click the link down below. It'll take you to OUTDOORLIMITSshop.com, and you can pick up your order. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at these two collars. These are collars I've used for my dog this past year, and I want to kind of compare and give you guys some details on them. If you're searching for a e-collar, hopefully this will help you guys out. So let's go ahead and get into the details of these things before I give you guys kind of my opinion on both of these. The Garmin Sport Pro comes in at $250, but it has additional price for belt clip and lanyard. The collar has short and long prong options, has lights, quality hardware, and is water rated at 10 meters. On the collar, it has a battery life indicator when you turn it on. The transmitter has a 3/4 mile range and has a 4-button and 1-dial layout with a selector switch for 3 dogs. On the dial, there's 10 stimulation settings, and the remote has 4 buttons that correspond with tone, vibrate, continuous stimulation, and momentary stimulation. On the dial, there's an auxiliary setting that has a bark limiter and turns on and off the lights on the collar. The Sportdog 1225X comes in at $259, and the collar has a 140 to 160 hour life per charge. This collar also comes with short and long prong options, quality hardware, and it's waterproof up to 25 feet. There's a light on the collar that blinks when it turns on, letting you know when you need to recharge the battery. The remote has a 40 to 60 hour life per charge with a 3/4 mile range. The layout is 3 buttons and 1 dial, and this remote can be programmed for controlling 3 dog collars. This remote has 21 levels of stimulation and an adjustable button layout. On the dial, there's 7 stimulation settings and a vibrate tone function. The buttons also correspond with continuous and momentary depending on how they're programmed. A perk about the Sportdog 1225X is that the clip and the lanyard are included in the package. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in here and take a look at these collars and just look at the construction, what I like about them, what I don't like about them, so on and so forth. Just kind of like my first-hand experience with these two. So the Sportdog was the first collar that I bought. I didn't really know much going into using an e-collar with my dog, and so I asked a few people and they referred me to this one because that's what they use. So on the collar itself, it's got a button back here to turn it on. You can twist off these long prongs, put short prongs on, so on and so forth. It's a pretty basic collar itself. I think the big differences between these two collars isn't necessarily with this part, it's more with this part. So on the collar itself for the Garmin, it's a little bit different than the Sportdog. It's got a couple extra features. It does have the bark limiting feature, which I haven't really used much. Cora doesn't really bark. She'll whine in the blind, but I don't want to use that while we're hunting, so that's kind of a training deal. I haven't had the opportunity to really use it quite yet. But something that I have used on this collar is the lights. I don't know if you guys can see that. So when we're packing up after hunts or we're walking in, these lights are actually really freaking cool because I'm able to keep an eye on the dog and know where she is. Just for safety measures, like if we got trucks and side-by-sides and whatnot, like being able to just have her lit up to where somebody's driving, they can see her, or I can keep a better eye on her, that is huge. I really like that feature a lot. But as far as like buckles and straps and everything's concerned, they're pretty much identical. One thing about these two collars, and something that I noticed with my dog and having these two collars on her, is that with the Sportdog, I don't know if these prongs, the metal that they put in them is different, but I had issues with my dog getting raw spots on her neck from the contact points on the collar. Now, once I switched to the Garmin collar, that was never an issue. I haven't had that happen. I don't know if she kind of got calloused up, it doesn't really bother her neck much anymore, or if there's just different materials. But I did notice that it was pretty nasty when she was getting collar burn from this. So switching to the Garmin, she has not had any collar burn from it. So that's a perk for me, switching from this to that. I haven't put this back on her. Ever since I used the Garmin, I've kind of stuck with the Garmin, and I like it a little bit better, and I'll tell you why. But that's a something that I noticed between the two collars themselves. Sportdog remote. Honestly, I don't like this remote, and I'm not sponsored by Garmin or Sportdog. I feel like I should probably just say that I bought both of these. So after using this collar remote and using this collar remote, I don't like this one. The settings are incredibly difficult to change. When you want to change like vibrate or continuous or something like that, you have to take the clip off, press this little tiny button on the back, and then set the dial to whatever setting you want and use the manual. It's just kind of a pain, and so you don't have the option with this collar to have vibrate and tone. So you're either choosing you want vibrate or you want tone. There's no option for both on this collar, which kind of sucks. On the remote itself, you have low, medium, and high stimulation. That's how I set it up, and that's how they get the 21 levels, because you have 7 on the dial and you have low, medium, and high for each of them. When you get it locked in, you know, it works, but I just personally, I felt like this collar was kind of a pain to use. I was always searching for buttons and dials and whatnot. And another thing about this collar is that there's no lock feature like the Garmin has. So, you know, they're both about the same price, and I just personally, I feel like the Garmin remote is really what makes this collar better, and the bark feature in the headlights and just other additional features. So you can see here we got a toggle switch. Makes it really easy to add your second and third dog collars to this remote. You just flip the switch. You have black, blue, and red indicating dog 1, dog 2, dog 3. On the dial, it's got a lock feature. So no matter what happens, whether it's in my pocket, bouncing around on my chest, if it's on lock, my dog is not going to accidentally get stimulated or vibrated or anything of that nature. So it's basically just shutting off everything. The auxiliary feature is cool because you can turn bark limiter on and off. You can also turn bark limiter on and off from the collar. And of course, like I said, you got headlights on and off. So on the remote here, there's a dial to set the stimulation settings. And my dog's usually right about a 3 or a 4 for hunting, and she's kind of getting a little ornery. It goes to a 4, but most of the time a 3 is good enough. And something that I love about this remote is just the feel in the hand. You can tell side by side, the Garmin remote's bigger, and it fits in my hand really well. Top button is continuous, bottom button is momentary. So the momentary is just a quick little nick, and then vibrate and tone. So each thing has its own button. Whereas with this, if I wanted to go to vibrate tone, I'd have to go off of my setting to go to vibrate tone on the dial to then use vibrate or tone. So I really think that this is a superior design just because you have a button for everything. You don't have to mess with the dial. You can keep your stimulation settings set where it is. You don't mess it up. You're not going to put it on too high, switching things around. So, you know, I just feel like the user interface on this is pretty much dummy proof. The only downside is that you have to buy a lanyard separately and you have to buy a clip separately. But I highly recommend the clip. I really like it. It's been pretty dang handy when we're out training and when we're hunting. All in all, they're both good options, but after using both of them, I definitely prefer the Garmin. So I just wanted to make this video for you guys to give you guys some details on these collars and kind of give a scoop on the comparison between them, because you can look up reviews on each of them, but there's not really very many side-by-side comparisons, so I want to do that for you guys. So if you guys use an e-collar for your dog, drop it down in the comments. What do you guys use? What do you like the most about them? Let me know down below, because this might not be the be-all, end-all for me. Maybe I'll find you guys giving me suggestions to get one that's even better than this one. Overall, in the field, I haven't had any issues with range, any issues with sending signals. Like everything has worked flawlessly for both of these. So both good options if you're a hunter and going duck hunting or goose hunting. Both collars are waterproof, both remotes are waterproof. It's just the little fine details about them. But the thing that Garmin's got going for them is they got the bark limiter, they got separate buttons for vibrate and tone, and one of my favorite features, the headlights. So if you guys enjoyed this, leave me a like. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys on the next one.